I am Will Kolke. I am a printmaker. Today we're talking about a screen printing exhibition that I got coming up. Screen printing, or silk screen, is a process essentially of pushing ink through a screen, choosing where on the screen you want ink to go through and where on the screen you do not want ink to go through. And you do that by essentially coating a blank screen in a photo emulsion that is dried, and then you take a black and white film positive of your image. You expose it with UV light for a given period of time, depending on your setup. Then you take your screen and you wash out all of the areas that weren't exposed to light, that were blocked by ink on your transparency, are now water soluble, and everything that did get hit with light has been hardened, so it's a photochemical process. And then you have now a stencil, essentially, that you put ink with a squeegee and you pull it across and you fill every hole with ink. You place it on your paper and you run your squeegee over, pressing it from your screen down into your paper. And through a series of that process, repeating over and over, you build up layers, and therefore you build up your final image. It's a super popular printmaking technique. It's relatively cheap. It's easier than pretty much every other printmaking technique. The reasons I like it, it's very graphic. You either have ink or you don't have ink. That creates a very comic booky, very blocky graphic quality. There's a sort of levity, I think, to images made with screen print. The same reason you see it used for t-shirts and stuff like that. It has this pseudo seriousness about it. Like, it's very procedural. It's really easy to get it wrong. It's a fun process. It's kinetic. You can repeat your print over and over again. Yeah, it's fun. That's the main reason I like it, is it's quick. I put on music and I'm like moving with it. Like, you find a rhythm. You just get into this sort of like machine motion, and that's what I enjoy. A lot of people don't like that about it, but that's something I enjoy. It's meditative. It's tangible, it's physical, it's something you can pick up and put down. It's something you can destroy physically. It's something that like has physical volume, physical weight, takes up space, especially if it's like a sculpture or piece that is gonna go into your home or into your studio or wherever. It can't just like go into a file. It requires attention and space. It requires room. That's one of the things that I like about something tangible, like a painting or a print or a sculpture or folded paper or a group of just objects you found and arranged in a way that made sense to you. I originally started screen printing onto shirts because of, I was in a band, and, we were okay, but our shirts and our other memorabilia was really great. So I got to school and I started, working on paper. The way paper feels is tangible. The way it rips, cuts, like soaks up ink is something that, I guess that's what I'm fascinated about. It started when I got a little bit of attention for one particular print I did for a class, and it was just of a building. And in that print, I was exploring the idea of institutions, like political, financial, spiritual, cultural institutions, and how they, to me, especially at the time, seemed like these impenetrable entities, like people, but larger and stronger and in ways more standoffish. And those things, those institutions are embodied in architecture. That's the most physical way, the most immediate way that we see them. We see these large buildings that reflect back at us. They're law firms, financial institutions, governmental, administrative. And we're standing on the outside looking up at their physical grandeur. That relationship between an individual and an institution, I've been drawn to that sort of identity and exploration, and that's what the show's about. So it's a series of buildings from the Kansas City area, most of them I find particularly interesting, and I start to draw parallels between them as institutions, them as parts of narrative, them as these moving things with sort of a disregard for us walking along on the sidewalks, and then exploring us as those people on the sidewalks. So that's basically what the show's about. I actually physically go and spend time with the building that I have an idea for. I photograph it, I walk around it, I get a feel for it, I try to find out what businesses are in it. Then I will render each facade and put them into a 3D modeling program, and I'll rebuild the building the way I kind of see it. And then I'll manipulate pieces and then manipulate a view, a camera, to an area that I can't physically get to find the right angle that creates the sort of affect that I'm looking for. It's like taking a large 3D physical object, using technology to sort of find a dialogue to represent in 2D, and then back into another physical representation. The biggest thing that I learned about myself is that I'm not quite as good as I thought I was at the beginning. There's a lot of prep work that goes into making a print, and there's a lot of steps you can take to make it easier on you when it comes to actual printing. And there's steps that you can take that don't affect the final product as beneficially as you might think, that make the printing process extremely difficult. It's like rather than layering colors, you can make it really hard on yourself and isolate colors, essentially. And I was doing that at the beginning, and I realized I'm just not as good. I'm not good enough to do that. So it's a kind of printing hubris that I had and then am losing. The more I learn, the more I know that I don't know anything. The better I get, the more I see flaws in my own ability. I think further on, I'll probably just try to get better at printmaking. Like, I can see the difference between the beginning of this project and the later prints that I'm pulling, and I'm seeing like a tangible improvement. And so I want to keep going down that. Find newer techniques, study with more people, work in more and more print shops. I think I'll explore how I can bring more digital elements as well. So I think I'll just continue to explore. It sounds really cheesy when I just say it out loud, but I really enjoy the interaction between ink and paper. That's why I'm a printmaker. That's what I would call myself. That's the type of artist I am, a printmaker. And I dabble in digital media as well. But I think I'm a printmaker. For now. This month. Yeah.